We're going to the KGVO Newsmakers line right now, talking with the Missoula City Attorney Jim Nugent. Jim, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I was reading in the Missoulian this morning where evidently you released an opinion last night regarding the gun ordinance that has been proposed by a couple of city councilors and has received a lot of back and forth over whether or not it is actually legal or constitutional. What can you tell me about your decision?
Basically, it's available online on the city attorney website. It was issued late yesterday afternoon, and it basically is just indicating that it'll be up to the courts to determine the legality of any ordinance, but that there are ample sources in the law currently that allow the Missoula City Council to at least consider this proposal, especially the Montana state law that explicitly says that local governments, and that's all local governments, have the power to prevent and suppress the possession of firearms by convicted felons, persons who are adjudicated mentally incompetent, illegal aliens, and minors. So what the ordinance at this stage is proposing is just to try and ensure that the private sales transactions are somehow doing a background check so that people who are convicted felons, adjudicated mentally incompetent, illegal aliens, and minors might not be able to be eligible for the acquisition of the gun, can be prevented from getting that gun as established by the Montana State Legislature. Those four categories are established by the Montana State Legislature. What's lacking is a mechanism for actually having someone check that this is occurring with respect to private transactions.
Now, Jim, not long after the city council put forth their recommendation, Attorney General Tim Fox, Steve Dane, some other rather prominent state officials put forth their opinion that it simply wouldn't be able to pass muster due to Montana statutes. So, how do you respond to those criticisms?
Well, the Attorney General was attacking a phantom opinion. There was no opinion at that time. 2 weeks ago, there was no opinion. The elected officials that are politicians are all welcome to their own opinion. I'm just trying to identify the law and indicate that it's within the power of the city council to consider the ordinance. Whether the city council adopts the ordinance is up to them. But if you read the opinion, you'll see that there's examples of 18 instances where there are limitations or restrictions on the right to bear arms that exist in law right now. And there is no absolute right in any context. And as everyone knows, I think from grade school, you can't falsely yell fire in a crowded assembly room or in a theater and cause a big ruckus as people try and exit because of the person falsely yelling fire. There'll be legal repercussions. Well, just like that, there's no absolute right with respect to the right to bear arms. And the Congress and the state legislature have already established all kinds of limitations on that, and we list approximately 18 of them in the legal opinion.
Sure. Now, one of the stories that we were following today was one of the local pawn shops said there may be some practical implications of the law that haven't quite been thought out yet. For instance, if someone were to try to sell a gun to a pawn shop and then they try to resell it, that this particular ordinance would cause a great deal of additional work for whoever owns the pawn shop and might make that transfer almost impossible to complete.
That's something that would have to be addressed by the staff, which would most likely be the police department and anyone who's working with the practical aspects of it. My legal opinion is simply limited to the fact that there is a state statute that says that local governments, all local governments have the power to prevent and suppress possession of firearms by the convicted felons, the adjudicated mentally incompetent, illegal aliens, and minors, and there has to be some way to kind of implement that. And this proposal is a procedural type proposal that's just trying to implement some steps to at least try and have some background checks with respect to some of these transactions that occur. We'll never know if it is effective because, fortunately, there wouldn't be an incident if it's effective. But it appears that the state legislature, when it authorized the power to prevent and suppress possession by those four categories of people, must have expected some mechanism for trying to implement that.